Hey everybody, Simon here again with Northern Plains, just to give you a quick update on our ideal ditch mapping portals. So, by the time you see this, the portals have probably been launched, and we're taking new registrations now for Ditch Assist owners to get access to them. So, I just want to quickly give you an overview of what they are, how they work, some of the limitations on here. So what I've done, I've just zoomed in here to somewhere in Saskatchewan just to give you an example. And the first thing that quite a few people have asked already is, why doesn't this show me drainage paths for every single area in the field? And the answer for that is just simply the way that this has been modeled. It's been modeled based on much larger areas. Your fields are only a very, very small part of the overall modeling area. And just for the sheer volume of data and processing that would take, it's just not possible to model everything on every field. If you need that, really, you're going to have to get an RTK or a drone survey done to get that level of detail. So while these are going to tell you the general directions, the general outlet locations on the field, no, they're not going to show you exactly drainage paths of every single area. What they're also not always going to show you is the exact route. Again, there is some generalization here. So you might go out to the field and you can see a natural channel. These flow lines aren't always going to be exactly there, just again, because these are modeled on much, much bigger areas. But what this is designed to do is just to show you the overall characteristics where your fields fit in to the regional level. So, if we look here, for example, generally everything on this land is going to be flowing to the east side here, sort of from the problem areas in the north. You should be looking to drain those towards more sort of the middle of the field here, and some kind of outlet path coming through. Again, you don't have to follow these lines exactly. You're just going to use this as a guide. Over here, for example, it probably doesn't make sense to make a drain like this. You'll probably just cut straight through here, unless there's a hill or a feature there that prevents that. Likewise, up here, a good example, we've got obviously some slight pothole areas here, and we don't have flow lines for those. The logical thing to do when you're out in the field is to connect these to whichever route is the most viable. Maybe there's a big hill right here, so it might actually make more sense to come this way, for example, with that one, and connect it up over here and bring it off the field. That's going to be something that you're still going to need to figure out. Something you may also want to do as well, just to give you a reference, you could print something out to have with you out in the cab. If you choose the legend option, you have the function here called sketches. So you can actually create your own sketch to add some annotations to the map, and then you can save that as a PDF that you can actually print. So you can give it a title here. I'm just going to leave it as is. And then you can draw lines. So let's say, for example, my plan is to come out and I'm going to try and do something like this. And maybe we're going to follow that line to here. Let's make it red so we can see it, make it a bit thicker. And then I'm going to try and connect maybe some of these other areas to it. So maybe then my plan is to do something like this. And again, you can build kind of your own sketch. You can annotate these maps. Now, unfortunately, at the moment, we can't export those as KML layers. The KML layers are going to be the underlying flow lines. But what you can do is, if you use the print tool, it'll open a new window, and you can create your own print layout that's going to show you your current map view. So you can adjust that, you can zoom it however you want it, you can turn different information on. You might also want to use this if you're applying for permits, for example. You could draw on the map showing what you're proposing to do. You're also giving whoever it is that's approving the permit this flow map at the same time, showing them where the natural flow paths are, justifying what you're looking to do. So you can save this, you just hit print. You could either then print it, or you could save it as a PDF, and that's just another tool that you have access to in here. Here's just another example of something you may see in some areas. If you see here, we've got all of these lines that are fairly close together, almost looks like a tile drainage design. And generally where you find these are areas where the land is really flat and there's very little slope, and the modeling had a hard time actually figuring one direct flow route. So what it does instead is it just puts lots of tributary routes. And often you'll find, even if we look at the satellite imagery, for example, behind this area, it looks like it's a fairly wet area. It could be areas that are prone to high water tables and not a lot of natural slope. So in this case, while the flow lines are going to show you the general direction, it looks like, in this case, the flow direction is going sort of down to the southeast. It's a little bit more difficult to find a line to follow there, and in a lot of these areas, in all honesty, it may be something like tile drainage would be a good fit for, because it looks like, again, we've got some water table issues that you tend to see in those kinds of areas as well. So if you do see that, and you will see that sometimes if the region includes like a lake or a big body of water, for example, you'll generally see that as well, because it's a very flat surface. And that's the way that the modeling drew the flow lines over those fairly flat areas. Here's another example. We've got these sort of extra lines, if you like, coming off some of these areas. So usually, again, that's an indication that it could be fairly flat, or the modeling just didn't quite figure out direct routes. But again, we can see fairly clearly the overriding predominant routes. In this case, we just don't need to follow all of those tiny little lines. You just need to use your judgment in terms of what you decide to do. Again, these flow lines, the ideal drainage mapping is really just designed to give you a guide of the direction that you need to be taking your drains and where your outlets should be. So I hope it's something that you find useful, and again, just want to thank you for your support. Everybody that's purchased a Ditch Assist system, we really appreciate it, and we really hope that this is something that you can find a lot of use for. So until next time, I'll wish you happy fieldwork and a happy fall.